We told you they were up to something, that they were cooking something up, and sure enough, they were. The members of the January 6th committees are, quietly of course, seeking preemptive pardons from Joe Biden in his last hours in office. They are absolutely terrified. And that's why Pam Bondi was asked about this in her confirmation hearing.
I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one
Based
has
on
asked
what you
me
know.
to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a
The
hypothetical.
president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
Aware of it, but she's not answering your questions. I mean, like, why would they be worried about that, right? I mean, they did everything right? No? Is it because they deleted evidence? That's like the most blatant crime I see here. Because if Donald Trump was so star-spangled guilty, why would the J6 committee delete all that evidence? Judging by the fact that this committee was set up illegally anyway, would it surprise you that there was some nefarious cattywampus afoot? Probably not. In every other House committee, going back to like the beginning of ever in this country, the party in the majority chose their members, including the chair. And the party in the minority, which at the time of the formation of the J6 committee were Republican, they should have been able to choose their members. Nancy Pelosi denied them that. And this woman's not even going to the inauguration, by the way. She put crying Adam Kinzinger and 40-point primary loser Liz Cheney instead of Jim Jordan because they knew that they would play ball with the Democrats. Now, is that a crime? Probably not prosecutable, but certainly unethical, certainly not keeping with tradition. But the thing that Democrats are really worried about, and like dead to rights on, is the deleting of evidence, including witness testimony, statements, interviews. And think about this. The U.S. House of Representatives just say, oh, look, hey, guys, we can't find any of this evidence. This stuff doesn't just disappear. In any other case, prosecutors have been charged for things like this, like Michael Nafong, the North Carolina 2007. Remember that Duke lacrosse case? You remember that? He was the district attorney that was disbarred and convicted of criminal contempt for just withholding exculpatory evidence, not even deleting it. Ken Anderson, Texas, 2013. He was a district attorney who withheld evidence in a murder trial and spent 10 days in jail. Richard E. Jackson, a former Dallas prosecutor, was disbarred for intentionally withholding evidence that could have exonerated two men. There's like 1,000 of these examples on the internet out there. And that's what Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson are really worried about. And this wasn't some local county investigation like those were. This was the former and soon-to-be sitting president of the United States that they tampered with. They made up allegations up to and including treason. How many of you would go nuclear if this was you? Like, I sure would. I would leave no rock unturned. I would tell my attorney general day one, go get the evidence they deleted. Oh, and if they don't have it, charge them. In fact, just for good measure, add Adam Schiff to that. And then charge him with, I don't know, something like Russian collusion. Doesn't matter if there's any evidence, they did it. So appoint a special prosecutor. Here's $50 million to spend on a witch hunt and overturn every aspect of their life. And anybody who had any relation to him, just do it. That's the standard. Oh, and if you happen to catch them in any process crimes like, I don't know, tax evasion or anything else, maybe if they get caught up on a FISA warrant, that's all fine. That's what they did to Trump. Nobody went to jail for it, so apparently we can do that now. Oh, you think we can't do that? Oh, would that be unethical, Democrats? Would that be wrong or illegal? Oh, really? Now you're into the rule of law? Then you should probably jump on the train and let's prosecute all the people who did it to Trump the first time. You see where I'm going with this? I mean, this is the conversation I would be having before the door even shut behind me on my way into the White House on Monday. So these congressmen who, look, I guarantee you, they might have done foolish things, but they're not that stupid. I guarantee you, they know they did something nefarious, and they're freaking out. Well, maybe they should have thought about that before they committed a bunch of crimes. Trump doesn't even have to break the law to prosecute these people. The evidence is right. Well, the evidence is actually not there because they deleted it. That is the crime. Because under the Federal Records Act, this law mandates that all federal agencies, including Congress, preserve records that document the organization, functions, policies, decisions, procedures, and essential transactions of the agency. Records from congressional hearings, including transcripts, testimonies, and related documents, are considered federal records. House Rule 7 and Senate Standing Rule 11 govern the keeping of records, including those from hearings. Now, the National Archives and Records Administration. You remember these guys, right? They are the permanent preservation of pretty much all records, including Congress's records. Like, I don't know why the National Archives isn't having this fight on their behalf. Look, if you recall, the National Archives are the ones that worked with the illegally appointed prosecutor, Jack Smith, to raid Mar-a-Lago because, in part, they wanted a map back that Trump drew on with a Sharpie marker about a hurricane path, with personal letters and a model airplane. Where's the National Archives for, like, thousands of documents, interviews, and notes on the prosecution of the man who was and will be again the president in 4 days? You see why these people want a pardon now? Yeah, you bet they do. It would not surprise me if Biden, like, penciled this in on Monday morning after his morning cup of Metamucil, but it's really going to test the power of the pardon. Can a president pardon someone before they've even been charged with a crime? I mean, hell, he did it with his son Hunter, but that doesn't make it legal. There's people on both sides of this, politically aligned generally. Look, I happen to think the language of the pardon doesn't allow it. I'm not a lawyer, but we'll see. I hope Pam Bondi tests it. But here's the rub, and this applies to everybody, Hunter Biden too. Once you get that pardon, you lose the right to remain silent. You have to answer questions because you can't incriminate yourself. You've been pardoned. Anything they ask you, Congress, investigators, special prosecutors, you have to answer it honestly. Can't plead the fifth, which could incriminate a whole lot of other people who didn't get a pardon. So unless Biden plans to, like, pardon every single person involved with everything, which could be hundreds of people in this chain of command, someone's probably going to end up in jail. And you know what? After 4 years of what we just saw, I'm here for it.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.